Okay, so we all know what outer space is, but what if we went inside? What would that be called? Technically, that'd be called inner space. A funny, fantastic voyage. Blast off and have a great time. Richard Carless of time. Corliss. Jack Putter feels funny today. Nothing new to this 25-hour-a-day hypochondriac. What's new is that Jack hears everything. I'm possessed, he cries, and you're about to be possessed by laughter. Gremlins executive producer Steven Spielberg and director Joe Dante again rev their imaginations into overdrive for this comic adventure that won a 1987 Best Visual Effects Academy Award. The voice Jack Martin Short hears is the hotshot Navy pilot Tuck Pendleton, Dennis Quaid, subject of a secret miniaturization project gone awry and accidentally ejected into Jack. Before frazzled Jack can say, I got you under my skin, his unlikely partner propels him the craziest escapade of his life. Yeah, it's one of the most absurd concepts possible. As I'm just watching this, I'm like 2 hours long. And I'm like, alright, so how exactly can they fit this in? So the plot is ridiculous, of course, but it's the sharply written wit and script that make this movie, the plot, go along. I thought you could only drag this out for roughly, I don't know, 90 minutes, but I felt like there was enough of one dealing with Tux. In the beginning, he appears drunk with a bunch of other uh, pilots, I guess is the word, and as he's being tested for the miniaturization, he then realizes that, oh crap, there are other people who have it a whole heck of a lot worse than me. And he also has to deal with his ex, Lydia, who's also pregnant. And all meanwhile, he has to manipulate Putter to stop being such a wimp, I guess. And to start standing up for himself. And I'm like, okay then, this is actually very interesting. So he deals with people at the grocery store. He deals with his boss. My favorite scene is we think that there's going to be a lady who's going to produce a firearm and manage to krill him. It's just a lighter, just to give you this movie's sense of humor. All the meanwhile, these two form a very unusual relationship. I can actually believe it happening because they're getting to know each other, enough to where it doesn't get into drama or anything like that. It's just, like I said, a sci-fi comedy. So at the same time, we get these two chips that contain all the information for the miniaturization. A rival company comes and pretty much blasts away some of the people in the lab that we're rooting for, and we also get some good villains too. I like that. We get a guy named Cowboy who has the hat and the boots, and on a plane he's asked to extinguish his cigar. Does it like right here on his hand, and he does look like a whole cowboy. And Kevin McCarthy from Invasion of the Body Snatchers plays a great over-the-top character. I liked him because one, he's menacing. Two, he has certain pros and height about him that just works well. Obviously, he's he's a sci-fi legend and brings some, I don't want to say chops, but enough gravitas and credit to make this movie stand out, to like saying, hey, you're gonna have a good time watching this. There's some music going on, like 1980s synth and stuff like that. It's fine. It's music of its time, but just the concept of how far they're willing to go, which is so great, is what I like. Even when our heroes manage to get captured, somehow all the bad guys manage to become like little people. Yes, I am dead serious. And so there's some escapades of them trying to like get into a phone booth and place a phone call. It's just a laugh a minute riot. But it doesn't feel forced. Everything feels natural here. Even the lengths, even as far as even even what Tuck has to go through, his own development and stuff like that, dealing with like this, all the stuff going on. He gets to see some like cells and stuff like that. It was actually Jello. So yeah, there were actually a lot of really good special effects in here. Obviously, with everything going on inside inside Jack's body, getting his ship down, the forced perspective used for the actors when they become little people and stuff like that. What was it? They had to stand like 20 feet away from the camera or something like that. And Jello used for all the cells. So yeah, obviously the crew went in and had a good time making this. So as I'm just watching this, I'm like, where does this come from? Lo and behold, there's a 1960s sci-fi movie, and I read this during the quote, and it's called A Fantastic Voyage, that has been referenced many times. It was also the progenitor of getting miniaturized. So every time you see it, this was kind of like it's an underrated movie that gets referenced too much, but not too many people would know. Yeah, Dennis Quaid is great in this. He stars as the hotshot guy, but he eventually starts to loosen up over time and has to reconcile with his past and get past his and overcome his renegade ways. My favorite is when they're inside the bond that them two shares when they're inside a frozen truck, and he's like saying, "Yeah, you have to get out of here." And they say, "Yeah, you have mild hypothermia." So he says a whole bunch of stuff, including "Nam Yol Ring Go, Nam Yol Ring Go, Nam Yol Ring Go," Richard Buddhist chanting, just to try and get him motivated. Don't know exactly what scriptwriter did that, but that was very funny. Actually, pretty cool to see. So yeah, at the end, the motivation and ultimately, Jack manages to quit his job. So yeah, with all that being said, it's like 2 hours. Yes, it does. There is a lot of stuff going on in here, but it feels right. There's not like any padding or bloating or anything like that, or nothing feels like force. It all feels genuine and real. And I think with all the fun stuff that Joe Dante was doing, I think that Innerspace is really worth your time. Silly as it is.